right, let's take a detour to have a word from our partners, and when we return, it'll be time to begin the conversation.
Nigerian Shippers Council, they to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council, they feel in a parole now for every level. And as soon as goods, they move from port A, go enter port B, with a measure within on a need. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't shop proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better, no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem when shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily. Papa, email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng. Allow us on top 0818-888-8895 or 0703-584-6468. Nigerian Shippers Council with a meeting now for the port of Nanid.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Maritime today is the program we set for the conversation this beautiful Wednesday. But quickly, let's get back to the roads. And from our live cameras in the studios, we can tell you the impediment on that Yanowuru where we told you around Newcastle. Of course, the car has been taken off, the tanker off as well. And there's a tow vehicle on ground ready to take away the bus, which is the remains of that accident. All right, Ikorodu Road, we can tell you it's better movement. This is from the inner part of Ikorodu. Better movement all the way from Odogunyo down to First Gate, heading towards Sabo roundabout is looking very, very good. Fast-moving traffic has been experienced, but that's on both sides. Sabo inwards Aleje, heading towards Garage, is moving slowly as well. Aside for some bad portions of the road, both sides are still looking good. We can also tell you movement from Garage, that's the new garage, that's from the Garage down to Unity. First Benson and second Benson, better movement has been experienced there. The return journey from Benson navigating through Ojubode and Obas Palace, Ojogbe, as well as areas like Owu is also looking good. Okay, Owolowo rather. Navigating through Ladiga, heading towards Onishigida, linking up with areas like Otaono and Radio Grammar School, moving at a much faster pace this morning. The return journey too, navigating through Otano, linking up with Onishigida as well as Ladiga, heading towards Ojubode to link up with Garage, is also moving at a fast pace as well. We'll be sending you more helpings as they come in from time to time. But right now, let's bring you the latest news in the maritime domain, and Taiwo will be taking us through that shortly.
On Maritime News this morning, the Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, has reaffirmed the commitment of the service in strengthening deepening collaborative ties with the Nigerian Port Authority, NPA, to enhance port efficiency and competitiveness. During a courtesy visit to the NPA headquarters on Thursday, CGC Adeniyi emphasized the crucial role that well-functioning ports play in the success of customs operation. While Adeniyi said, if we get it right in our port, we will get it right in the service. The CGC outlined several key initiatives currently being pursued by the NCS and stressed the need for the NPA support in ensuring their successful implementation. He highlighted the achievement recorded at the export processing terminal as a testament to the effectiveness of interagency cooperation and expressed optimism about extending similar initiatives to the Eastern Port in facilitating export. In another development, the West Africa Container Terminal WACT APM Terminals Nigeria this week revealed that it received the Europe Africa 4, that's EURAF 4 service, providing a weekly direct shipping to Onne Port in Rivers State. The service was inaugurated at the Onne Port with the arrival of the container ship MV Leto EURA-FA aims to enhance connectivity, improve transit times, and provide comprehensive cargo handling solutions for Nigeria's trade with Europe and Asia. The introduction of EURA-4 is a response to the increasing demand for efficient and reliable shipping solutions. The new service will enable Nigerian importers and exporters benefit from streamlined logistics, cost reductions, and enhanced supply chain efficiency. The CEO of APM Terminals Nigeria, Frederick Klinker, described the launch as a testament to the trust placed in WAT APM Terminals and the strength of the Nigerian economy. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, has called on marine personnel within the Niger Delta region to enhance effective policing of the waterways for possible prevention, apprehension, and prosecution of maritime offenders. The IGP disclosed this on Tuesday during the commissioning ceremony of the gunboat in Rivers State. Speaking at the State Marine Police Division in Abonema Wharf, the IGP, represented by Deputy Inspector General of Police Operations Muhammad Ali, said that the gunboat were provided to enhance effective policing of the waterways. He further charged the police maritime officers to ensure optimal use of the vessels and imbibe the culture of a proper maintenance for lasting performance of the boat. And finally, in maritime news this morning, PTML Terminal, the largest multi-purpose terminal in West Africa, made history on Tuesday with the arrival of MV Great Cotonou, the first Conroe container roll-off vessel offering a direct service from Shanghai to Lagos. This milestone marks a significant advancement in maritime trade between China and Nigeria, reducing transit times and enhancing logistics efficiency. Owned by global shipping giant Grimaldi Group, which also operates PTML Terminal, the MV Great Cotonou is set to transform regional trade by offering the fastest transit time on this route, just 27 days. Unlike other shipping services that require transshipment at intermediary port, this direct service ensures faster and more reliable delivery for Nigerian importers, eliminating delays and additional handling cost. With this initiative service, Nigerian businesses can now receive not only containerized cargo, but also vehicles including cars, vans, trucks, and project cargo all on the same vessel. This unique multimodal transport solution presents substantial logistical advantage, streamlining supply chains and reducing overall cost for importer. Unlike other shipping services that require transshipment at intermediary port, this direct service ensures faster and more reliable delivery for Nigerian importers, eliminating delays and additional handling cost. And that's maritime news for this morning. Maritime Today continues shortly with Victor Oteri.
Shippers Council is now better poised with responsive systems in place to help you and other shippers get seamless, stress-free transition for your clients' goods from point A to B. Today at the Nigerian Shippers Council, timeliness, orderliness, transparency, and efficiency is all we care about. Put your complaint through to our helpline 0818-888-8895. Visit us at number 4 Ayodele Shoyode Lane, Apapa, Lagos, or reach us on www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the point of your need.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the port of your needs.
Nigerian Shippers Council, they to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council they feel on a parole now for every level, and as una goods they move from port A go enter port B with a measure within una need. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't sharp proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem where shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily. Papa email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng. Allow us on top 0818-888-8895 or 0703-584-6468. Nigerian Shippers Council with the meeting for the port of Nanir.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. My time today is a program we set for the conversation quickly. Newcastle, we did tell you, Newcastle inwards, Antonio K. We had that multiple accident between 3 vehicles, but the good news, all the 3 have been successfully towed off the road, so it's a much better drive for those of you who are within that corridor right now. Ikorodu end, we did tell you, is still looking pretty good as we speak. Taking you through the Ojo end as well. The earlier reported impediment at Iyano Isashi inwards mile 2 has also been towed off the road, so it's a much better drive. Earlier on, we had backlog that extended towards Ladiga, but of course, it's off the road right now. Let me see if we can still come through some others. If you're making that journey to the island, it's looking good at the moment. Yes, the Third Milan Bridge is still very good as well. And those of you who are coming into Lagos on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is also looking good as well. All right, then on the program this morning, we're scrutinizing Nigeria's transport and logistics readiness in the AFTA project. And joining me on the phone line, I have Chief Agu Kajatan Chukwuemeka. He's a Managing Director, Onwa Naku, Mega Vision Nigeria Limited, and he's also former Director Consumer Rights for the Nigerian Shippers Council. Chief Agu, nice to have you on the program. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Wonderful. All right, then, so we'll come to transport and, of course, logistic preparedness in the AFTA scheme in a while. But when you assess Nigeria's participation in AFTA as it stands today, how will you rate it, Chief Agu?
Definitely, to be blunt, Nigeria scored a low rating.
Low rating?
Low rating in terms of participating in AFTA trade. And there are many reasons for that.
Right.
You know, as far as AFTA trade is concerned, we have some early bets, you know, and Ghana happened to be one of the early bets. South Africa is also one of the early bets.
Right.
You know, because in actual terms, the agreement, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, you know, it was signed on the 21st of March 2018, and that was in Kigali, in Rwanda.
Right.
You know, then again, the agreement itself came into force. You know, it came into force on 30th of May 2019.
That's right.
You know, then Nigeria as a country only ratified the agreement you know, in November 2020 and deposited the instrument of ratification, you know, on the 15th of December 2020. And we become the 34th state party to that agreement.
So,
number 30.
Right.
We are number 34.
So we're a late arrival in that particular agreement.
Yes, we are late arrival. And apart from that, even after ratifying the agreement, there was also a policy that came into force that also delayed our participation. You know, you could remember that our land borders, you know, our land borders were closed throughout 2021.
Right. And
it was opened only in April 2022. So, which means that you couldn't trade under that kind of environment. So, it actually affected our participation. when you look at even the implementation of the agreement, you discover that Ghana are now cornered the headquarters of AFTA.
Okay.
The headquarters is in Ghana, and the first Secretary General, happened to be a South African. So you can see how we lost out.
All right.
Then to also finalize in terms of why I rated Nigeria low in terms of participation, it was only in November last year. Only in November last year that the first shipment, of after a consignment left our
Nigeria for Kenya.
Yeah, for Kenya, and you know that Ghana has been exporting, since January 2021. So imagine a country that has been exporting since 2021, and we started our own export in 2024.
All right, so we'll talk more about this assessment. But somebody says this morning, Chief Agu, that trade is the engine that propels the economy in the direction of progress. And that is perhaps the driving force behind AFTA. But for those who might not really know what AFTA is, kindly take some time to just provide an overview of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
Well, it's not something new. Don't forget that Nigeria has been under ECOWAS for many years. So whatever we have in ECOWAS, that's exactly what we have in AFTA. The only thing is now it encompasses more countries.
All right.
So African Continental Free Trade Area happens to be a free trade zone, as outlined in the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, as endorsed by the African Union.
Right.
And when you look at the participating countries, we have around 55 countries participating in AFTA, unlike ECOWAS where we have 15. You can see the difference. And since the formation of the World Trade Organization, I think AFTA happened to be the largest trade-free zone. Then in terms of potentials, the 55 countries in Africa has a population of more than 1.5 billion people. So you can imagine when 1.5 billion people are trading among themselves. In terms of GDP, the GDP is enormous, almost 3.1 trillion US dollars.
Right.
And when you also look at Africa, in terms of youth population, Africa is the youngest continent in the whole world. We have a youth population of more than 60%. So these are some of the potential, and the truth is that if Africa should methodologically implement AFTA, definitely it is going to spur economic growth and prosperity.
All right, which is supposed to be the real aim and objective of this continental integration for trade. But when you look at what's going on right now, Chief Agu, I'm just going to bring you some instances. I mean, look at in the West African sub-region, for instance, we have the countries, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. They seem to have pulled out of ECOWAS. They formed their own alliance of Sahel states. If you look at ongoing rift between Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, are these not things that would, more or less disintegrate the African countries from uniting in AFTA?
I don't think so. But I see conflict is inevitable. Even at the level of family, we have conflict.
Right.
At the level of our various villages, we do have conflict. At the level of our states, countries will have conflict. So definitely, the most important thing is to find a way of resolving the conflict. And I have the hope that when we emerge, out of this conflict, we are going to come together stronger.
Okay.
We are going to come together stronger.
Which will be very, very good. But how does, after the agreement, how does it impact on Nigeria's transport and its logistics sector? Talk to me.
Well, you know that definitely AFTA is going to affect the Nigerian transport and logistics sector positively. Because it is going to bring out that beast in us. You see, Nigeria economy is a resilient one. You understand? You can see from the days of Babangida till now, they will be saying Nigeria economy is going to collapse. But you see us emerging and coming out stronger. That is the resilience. So as I said, one of the objectives of SAFTA is to boost inter-African trade. And when you boost inter-African trade, what it means is that there will be more trade. So there will be increase in volumes, of trade going on among the various African countries. What it means is that Nigeria will now have the opportunity to sell more because we will now have a bigger market.
Right.
And when you have the opportunity to sell more, what does it mean? It means that there will be more activities for the African ports, and including Nigerian ports. So what this is entailed is that there is also the need for us to upgrade the facilities at the Nigerian port.
And that's where I'm going to come to. I mean, if you look at have you assessed the transport and logistic infrastructure that we have for AFTA, how would you rate it?
Well, you see, when you look at the African as a continent, you discover that you cannot rate that of Nigeria to be in a poor state, because we are better than many countries. We are far better than many countries. There are some analysis that we carried recently, we carried some analysis recently, and you discover that in terms of our global performance index, in 2024, Nigeria is ranked number 88. You understand?
Right.
So, and we are also 8 in Africa. Although you see, we are on the same bracket with Congo, Democratic Republic, and Guinea-Bissau. So actually, Nigeria is supposed to be 6th.
Right.
You understand? So it means that we are doing well.
Okay.
It means we are doing well. And there are also some infrastructural improvements. In 2022, Nigeria ranked number 8 in terms of shipping connectivity index. But immediately the Lekki port come on board,
right?
And become operational, we now came down to 3rd. So we are now ranked 3rd in terms of shipping connectivity index. It means that we are now more connected. You understand? We are now more accessible to global and African trade. So you can now see that we are not ranked poorly in terms of this
infrastructure, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that means we're still trying. We're doing well in that regard.
We're doing well, but more needs to be done. Good enough, you can see that even the present government is doing a lot of work,
right,
in terms of rehabilitating major roads on the trade corridors.
So give us an insight now. Let's look at some of this transport infrastructure that we are talking about. We have roads, we have the rails, we have our ports, even the airports as well. So in all of this, would you say the infrastructure that we have is really putting us in a ready state for AFTA?
Well, I didn't say it is going to put us in a ready state. Take, for instance, if we look at the roads, you discover that we also have a challenge. We have a challenge in terms of movement of commodities from the farmhouse to the port. We have a challenge there. So, but the government is equally rehabilitating some of the roads within the corridor, even within the city. You see, some monumental infrastructural road development. There is one that segment. The network near my two.
Right.
That's a wonderful, infrastructure put in place. It has made, traffic circulation very, very easy, in terms of movement. And you also know that the Oshoti-Apapa express route is not done, because that's our major trade corridor. Also, another corridor from Port Harcourt, spanning to Enugu, Makurdi, to Jos, to Meduguri, more need to be done, because the section, between the 9th man corner in Enugu State and Makurdi is nothing to talk about. That road is in a very messy, condition, and that's the major, link between the southeast and the north.
Right.
The same thing applied also to the Warri. Warri, Benin, Ajokuta, Abuja, Kaduna, Kano road corridor. All these roads must be put in a sound condition because they serve as an evacuation point, for after trade.
All right, then. Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. On Maritime today this morning, we are still looking and perhaps scrutinizing Nigeria's transport and logistic readiness in the AFTA project. And taking us to the classroom this morning, I have Chief Agu Kajetan Chukwuemeka, of course, Managing Director of Onwa Naku Mega Vision Nigeria Limited. He's also former Director of Nigerian Shippers Council, NSC. And if you're wondering, he's also a maritime consultant and sub-regional expert on trade. We're going to take another short break right now. When we return, are there other monumental projects or perhaps transport infrastructure that puts Nigeria on the front burner as it relates to the African Free Trade Agreement? Also, we'll be talking about efficiency. How efficient are our transport and logistics infrastructure? All these are much more we'll be reflecting on only if you can still keep us company. A brief break, we'll be back.
Nigerian Shippers Council day to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council, they feel in a parole now for every level. And as soon as goods, they move from port A, go enter port B, with a measure within on a need. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't sharp proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better, no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem where shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily. Papa, email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng. Allow us on top 0818-888-8895 or 0703-584-6468. Nigerian Shippers Council with a meeting now for the port of Nanir.
Maritime today on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. I still have on the line this morning Chief Kajetan Agu, maritime consultant, of course, an expert in trade, and of course we're reflecting on transport and logistics infrastructure, perhaps our readiness for the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Quickly taking you through the roads this morning. Ebute corridor, I can tell you, Aiko Bridge by Ijora intersection inwards Akpogbo is slow due to ongoing expansion joint maintenance work, which has been there. It's been going on for quite a while now. That's on Eko Bridge. But immediately after that point, by Inepa inwards Akpogbo, it's looking pretty good. We still have traffic managers on ground doing the needful at that particular location. So if you also want to join the conversation, feel free to do so on 08099120777. That's 08099120777 and 09153877127. Let's get back to the conversation this morning, Chief Agu. Let's talk about the Lagos Calabar project, which this government is really focusing on. Of what impact will that really make to our transport and logistic readiness for the AFTA project?
Well, you know that the Lagos Calabar project is a long-term project because I believe maybe it will take another 4 to 5 years to complete the project.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe if it is completed, it will open up, the coastal areas. There's a lot of activities taking place within the coastal areas in terms of agriculture and fishing. So in terms of evacuation, definitely it is going to assist in, evacuating some of these commodities from the areas of production to the various seaports, for export. Those ones that are meant for export, but also those ones that are also meant for local consumption. It will also be easier to move them to areas where they are quickly needed.
Right.
That's all I can say for that project for now.
All right. Now, sub-regional trade, I mean, you've been looking at the West African sub-region, you've been concentrating, and of course the news filtering in the past 2-3 days, especially with what's going on in Niger right now. I think the Nigerians seem to be saying they will not accept the ECOWAS passport. So people who are trying to cross over from Nigeria into Niger for trade purpose and all that are facing some challenges right now, Chief Agu. Do you see a kind of danger does that portend some kind of danger for cross-continent or perhaps inter-regional trade from what you see?
Well, yes, it's already affecting us. That crisis is a burden and is already affecting us. When I was even in service, there was a case of somebody that his consignment was abandoned at the Ilela border, for up to 47 days. You can imagine a consignment, a shipment that got to the border, and it was delayed for 47 days. But good enough, my officer at Zibia border was able to negotiate, and transit was granted to the consignment. So what is happening between Nigeria and Niger is actually affecting both sides. Because we depend on each other, and traditionally we are also linked. In terms of intermarriages, you can see some people from Nigeria living in the Nigerian territories, Nigerian territories,
right.
And people in Niger also living in Nigerian territories, intertwined. So it's actually affecting trade.
Right. So
because if you want trade to actually happen, you must make trade easier.
Right.
In terms of trade facilitation. So what is happening? These are all barriers to trade, and I still believe that the authorities, that is the government of the ECOWAS countries, should try as much as possible to see how they can resolve this lingering crisis.
Right. Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Some messages are coming in here for you, Chief Agu. This one says, good morning, Mr. Victor and Chief Agu. How can Nigeria leverage its strategic location in West Africa to maximize AFTA's benefit? Francis is sending that message in. Francis, thank you so much. Do we have a strategic position that's of advantage?
Yes, of course. He's very, very correct, because when you look at Nigeria as a country, you discover that in terms of locations, we're in the middle. The distance between maybe Nigeria and Senegal and the distance between Nigeria and South Africa is almost equal in terms of what we call equidistance, equal distance. So we can now act, as a hub, in terms of a distribution point. When you also look at some of the landlocked countries in terms of Central African Republic, Niger, Burkina Faso, and you discover that Nigeria port happen to be the catchment port for these countries.
Right.
So we can now get all this cargo and distribute them to other African countries. So what we need to leverage, on our position is that, number one, we have to upgrade on our port infrastructure, and we are doing that. You can see that the Lekki port is already on board.
Right.
And the coming on board of Lekki port has also now improved our ranking in terms of shipping connectivity index.
All right.
Then another thing again we need to do is to link the various ports, major ports, to rail.
Okay.
Rail offers a cheaper means of transportation. The road transport has been overburdened. And we must try as much as possible to lessen it. Look at the inland waterways. We are not even making use of the inland waterways. And water happens to be the cheapest means of transportation.
Right.
So something must be done, concerted effort to ensure that we utilize the inland waterways for the movement of, cargo.
All right. Fisayo is connected with us. Fisayo says, how does Nigeria's transport and logistics sector compare to other African countries participating in AFTA?
I think I have already said so. Maybe he didn't listen to us. Number one, I also made the reference to our ranking on the Global Logistics Performance Index. You understand? We are number 6 in Africa. So
okay.
that is a comparison of our logistics and that of African countries. South Africa happens to be fourth on that ranking. South Africa is first. Then Ghana is second. South Africa is fourth. So Egypt is second. Benin Republic is third. Namibia is fourth. Rwanda happens to be the fifth.
And then Nigeria
is the Democratic Republic is sixth. So Nigeria is number 8 in terms of global logistics rank. So that compares our logistic level with that of African countries.
Okay, let's take this one from Sule. Sule is sending a message. Sule says he's been thinking, and he says, Chief Agu, do you think Nigeria's ports are well equipped to handle increased trade volumes from after?
Well, I think the answer is yes and no. The answer is yes and no in the sense that the efforts are being made to upgrade the port infrastructure. But to bear it in mind that Nigeria is the only country in West and Central Africa yet to implement the single window system. And that is very, very important, important project that, will facilitate trade, in terms of reducing costs and delays at the port. So we are yet to implement the single window. So it's a challenge. When the Republic implemented the single window in 2012, their revenue jumped up by 39%. And it's also reduced the cargo dwell time at the port, from almost 20 days to around 11 days.
Right.
So the question now is that if you look at the cargo dwell time at the port, it's still high. It's still high if you compare it to the sub-regional average.
Right.
We are talking of maybe 14 to 20 days. So it's still high.
Okay. All right, quickly. This one says, good morning. Are there ongoing road and rail projects designed to support after trade growth? Have a blessed day. Jamil, thank you so much for that one. I think, Chief Agu, you've already dwelt on that.
The answer is yes.
Yes. So,
I mentioned earlier in my discussion the effort that the current government is doing to rehabilitate roads on the major corridors.
Right. So, but let's talk about efficiency now.
Around and I see ongoing projects.
Right.
I also started an example, the bridge, the bridge, that network bridge around the Second Rainbow connecting Alabasuru.
That's right.
You understand? You can see is a massive road network that has the capacity to make trade easier in terms of evacuation of cargo from the seaports.
Quickly, Chibago, as we round up the program, let's talk a bit on efficiency. So, describe Nigeria's logistics and supply chain landscape, including the role of the private sector when we talk about efficiency. Hello, are you there, Chifagu?
I'm hearing you. I'm here. Come again.
Okay, so I was just talking about efficiency now, and I was saying that I would like you to describe Nigeria's logistics and supply chain landscape, including the role of the private sector, the private sector operators, when we talk about efficiency. Quickly.
Well, in terms of efficiency, you see, I need to appreciate our private sector operators.
Okay.
They are simple, wonderful people. Because when you look at the environment, for the conduct of business in Nigeria, you discover that it is abysmal.
Okay.
It's not the best. And that is the reason why you see businesses relocating out of Nigeria. So the private sector has been very, very wonderful.
Okay.
Because you see, the economy is supposed to be private sector driven. But on condition that government will create conducive environment, for the private sector to thrive.
Right. But let's talk about policies. Some of the policies that are introduced in some of these sports are not very, very friendly. And some have said these are things
that's exactly what I'm saying. Even the policies might even be okay, but in the implementation, what of the people that are implementing the policy? You understand? You see, I've been telling people, take for instance, all these people that are importing and exporting. These are trade ambassadors. You understand?
Right.
They are the ones that are bringing money to the economy. When people export more money will come into the country. If you make trade easier, more trade will happen.
All right. So as we round off now, Chifago,
when you create barriers to trade, it is barrier to development.
That's right. So as we round off the program now, Chifago, let's quickly dwell on a bit. I mean, what do you see in the next 12 months? Do you see Nigeria improving on its after-export trade? And where do you think our exports should go? I mean, November was the first where we took to Kenya. Where else should we be looking at?
Well, definitely the answer is yes. We just started in November 2024, the first export, and I believe that there will be more exports. And when you also look at Nigeria, you discover that we have, we have a lot of small and medium scale business enterprises.
Right.
And is a robust, a robust small scale scale. So, and when they enter into African market, they are going to enter with a bang. You know, why am I saying so? There was an international trade fair that took place in South Africa. I was there, and I know one of our exhibitors. You know, one of our exhibitors there, Mrs. Ezemwa. She went with her bags. You understand? And she was the senator of, you know, all the discussions.
Okay.
You know,
all right.
In terms of the quality of her bags.
All right.
You understand?
We have to leave for that for now, Chief Agu, because of time constraints. But let me say a very big thank you to you. Always a thing of joy to have you join us to shed light on the AFTA project and what we are doing. Thank you so much for connecting with us this morning.
Thank you, my good friend, and remain richly blessed.
Okay, then. So I'll be speaking with Chief Kajatan Agu, who is the Managing Director of Wanako Megavision. And, of course, he is also former Director of Consumer Protection, Consumer Affairs for the Nigerian Shippers Council. We have to go. The program this morning has been produced by Taiwo Barua. Maximum thanks to all others, Rebecca Adamu, who's Assistant Director of Public Relations for the Nigerian Shippers Council. And, of course, from our social media team, Okpai Bishodunke and Deborah Bolodeuku, we do appreciate you. Our executive producer is Tayo Akonle. My name is Victor Oteri. Have a great day. Bye.